students, welcome back to BIOME again. Jano Biology Dil Se. Now today what we will discuss? You are getting in the board itself. Today we will discuss about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now this chapter is important for us. ये चैप्टर सर बोरिंग है, अच्छा नहीं लगता है, समझ में नहीं आता है, क्यों नहीं आता है? कोशिश करेंगे तब ना होगा, हाल नहीं छोड़ना है, इसको लगातार कोशिश करना है और बहुत क्लियर आइडिया लेना है, तब जाके ये चैप्टर समझ में आएगा। ये चैप्टर कभी छोड़ना नहीं है, कभी नेग्लेक्ट नहीं करना है। डेफिनेटली क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा, हर साल बोर्ड एग्जाम में इस क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है, तो इस चैप्टर को बढ़िया से तैयार करना और बढ़िया से समझ लेना, रट्टा नहीं लगाना है, दिमाग से जानना है, दिमाग से समझना है। दिमाग से समझेंगे तो जरूर हम लोग ये कर पाएंगे। चलो शुरू करते हैं। इस चैप्टर का है क्या चीज जिसके लिए हम लोग को समझ में नहीं आता है? सब कुछ है ना, हम लोग के पास सब कुछ जानते हैं, तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। चलो समझ लेते हैं। नाउ as you are getting in this picture, that sexual reproduction in flowering plant, this name actually represent much more thing, correct? The sexual reproduction, पहले वाला चैप्टर में हम लोग पढ़े थे इवेंट्स इन सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शंस, करेक्ट? सो इसके साथ साथ ये ऐसा ही है, तो यहाँ पे असेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन नहीं पढ़ना है, यहाँ पे सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन पढ़ना है। तो सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन पढ़ेगी तो डेफिनेटली तो सेक्सुअल स्ट्रक्चर तैयार होगा। अब वो कैसे तैयार होता है, हाउ इट इज प्रिपेयर्ड, and we also know inside the sexual structures definitely some gametes will also prepare. So how gametes will prepare, then how the fusions of the gamete will took place, and what will happen after the fusion of the gametes, that is actually comes on in this chapter, the sexual reproduction in flowering plant. So in this chapter we will come to know that one, what is the process of the gametes formation, what is the process of fusion, and after the fusions what will be happen, in each and everything detail we will discuss about that. But before going into that, we have to know about the main sexual or reproductive structure of the plant. So as I already told, so what is the sexual reproductive structure of the plant? What is the reproductive structure of the plant? Yes, you are correct. The sexual reproductive structure or reproductive structure of the plant, generally the angiosperm. What are the angiosperms? Angiosperms means these are the higher plants. In the higher plants, the reproductive structure is nothing but flower. Okay, generally in the lower plants, we already know this, in the lower plants the flower not formed. Generally in the angiosperm only the flower will form. So what is the flower? The flower is the most fascinating features or reproductive structure of the angiosperm. Now this flower, if we come to this flower has much more aesthetic values. Okay, हम लोग पसंद करते हैं फूल को, aesthetic value, ritual value, okay, ceremonial value, religious purposes, every purposes we are using flower. Okay, this flower is holy for us. हम लोग सारा काम इस flower को इस्तेमाल करते हैं, and I hope so the time to immemorial time only the use of the flowers is there in our society, in our culture. Okay, everyone love flower, and flower is also a structure to represent our emotions, to represent our love. So for that one also we are using flower. Okay, as you are getting these things, flower, the uses of the roses are very much in trends in our society to express our feelings. So the flower is very much important for us also. Now as we are getting the sexual character, now if we come to the human being, so from the child onward the sexual reproduction started, or the production of the gametes, the maturity of the sexual structure, it started? Definitely not. So these structures, these formations, gametes formations, okay, these things took place just comes under the, in case of the adolescence period only. Okay, we know the different period in the boys and girls. When they comes to the adolescence period only, then only there will be onset of the gamete production. That is in case of the human being. But in case of the flower, what will happen? So if you check the smaller plant, in the smaller plant flower will come. Definitely not. So when the flower will come to particular plant, definitely what will happen? Inside the plant also some hormonal changes will be there, correct? And due to that hormonal changes, what will happen? When the flower will, or when the plant will get maturity, okay, then inside the flower plant the flower will come, correct? Due to some hormonal change, important, due to some hormonal changes inside the plant, the flower will come in angiosperm only, correct? So let's look into the detailed structure of the flower. Inside the flower, what is present? Okay, generally we know the flower, complete flowers, these are the different parts are also present. So what we call them? So let's point out those things. So what do we call them? We call them generally sepals. Okay, the sepals, many are there. So in group we call them as calyx. This is corolla. This is stamen. In group we call them as androecium, and this is carpel. Some are also calling pistil, and the group is known as gynoecium. Now, as we are getting the calyx of sepal, so it is green in color. And what is the general function of the calyx? Okay, the group of the sepals, the each one is called as sepals, and the group of the sepal is called as calyx. So what is the function of the calyx? Generally you think before this interstructure of the flower comes, the flower remain in bud stage. Flower remain in bud stage. You have seen that one. Suppose like this only, it's bud stage, and inside that only the flower is present, and that interfloral bud, it will be protected by this calyx. Okay, clear? That means suppose if you think the flower is present like this, bud, in bud stage, so inside the bud only the flower is present. So in the bud stage, this calyx will protect the flower against insects, against external damages. So in the bud stage, this calyx will give protection to the flower. Now after flower blossom, then the calyx, it will become even shorter, and it will present in the lower side of the flower, and we call them as calyx. So what is the calyx? You came to know that one. So let's move into the corolla. So what is the corolla? The corolla is most attractive part of the flower. Sometimes it is colorful, sometimes it is dull, sometimes it has very beautiful fragrance, scent it has. So why it is, the corolla is much more attractive and colorful, and why it has fragrance? Definitely for attracting the insects. And what would insect will do? The insect will help in the pollination. You already know what is the pollination. Now let's move into this structure. What is this structure? This structure is the male part of the flower. This structure is the male part of the flower, and similarly we can call them as stamen. And the group of the stamen, togetherly we can call them as androecium. Togetherly we can call them as androecium. Let's move into the female part. This female part is called as carpel, and also it's called as pistil, and togetherly it's called as gynoecium. So what is the carpel? So the carpel is the female reproductive part. And what is the stamen? The stamen is the male reproductive part. And group of stamen is called as androecium. Please get it. एकदम नीचे से चल उठते हैं. So the group of the stamen is called androecium, and the group of the carpel or pistil is called as gynoecium. Stamen is male part and the carpel is female part. Correct? These are the male and female part. Why? Because this flower is a bisexual flower. This flower is bisexual flower. In the previous chapter we discussed regarding this, the bisexual flower and the unisexual flower. If you don't know that one, please look back into the the sexual events in the flowering plant, or in the chapter number 1 you will get the details of this bisexual and the unisexual flower. Correct? इसके पहले वाला वीडियो तुम लोग देख लेना. ओके, प्लेलिस्ट में दे दिया गया है, प्लीज चेक दैट. द फर्स्ट चैप्टर, clear? The reproduction in organism, in the chapter, in that chapter you will get that one, what is the details of that flower. Now this is a bisexual flower, so as it is a bisexual flower, so that's why in this flower we are getting the male part also, and also we are getting the female part. इसीलिए इस प्लांट के अंदर में, इस फ्लावर के अंदर में मेल पार्ट और फीमेल पार्ट दोनों एक साथ में पाया जाता है. क्लियर? नाउ इसके अंदर में हम लोग और डिटेल्स में देखेंगे, तो इसलिए हम लोग को यहाँ पे जानना पड़ेगा दी मेल पार्ट और फीमेल पार्ट का डिटेल्स हम लोग को जानना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज हियर द चैप्टर नेम इज सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन. दैट मींस who are the sexual part? The sexual part is the stamen and the sexual part is the carpel. So in the first event what we will discuss? In the first event we will discuss regarding that how this male structure will form, how this male structure will form and how this female structure will form. Okay, and once it is formed, then how the male and the female structure will fuse with each other, that also we have to learn. So let's move into the different topics or different portion of this chapter. Now if we move into these different portions, the intersexual events of the flowering plants, it's categorized into 3 parts. So what are those 3 parts? Let's discuss regarding that. So those 3 parts are, so the first event, pre-fertilization. Second event, fertilization. And the third event, post fertilization. So in these portions, the entire topic divided into 3 categories: pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. So what will happen here? Before fertilization, pre means before fertilization. So the before fertilization, what are the changes will took place in the male and the female sexual reproductive part, that comes under the pre-fertilization. Now today we will discuss regarding this pre-fertilization only. So let's start with that. So in the pre-fertilization, first we will discuss about the pre-fertilization means before fertilization ये मेल और फीमेल स्ट्रक्चर कैसे तैयार होगा, that is comes under the pre-fertilization. Once again, before fertilization मेल और फीमेल स्ट्रक्चर कैसे तैयार होगा, that is the pre-fertilization. Okay, so the pre-fertilizations, definitely it will took place in the male part also. And what we call the male part? Male part we can call them as stamen, that is the male part of the flower. Okay, and also that is the carpel or pistil, that is the female part of the flower. Okay, that is the female part of the flower. So इस पीरियड में हम लोग इस प्रोसेस में हम लोगों को क्या जानना पड़ेगा? ये स्टैमेन का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, स्टैमेन के अंदर में पोलन ग्रेन कैसे फॉर्मेशन होता है, और कार्पेल का स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, और इस कार्पेल के अंदर में कैसे ओव्यूल फॉर्मेशन होता है, हम लोग को ये इस पोर्शन में हम लोग को जानना पड़ेगा. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द डिटेल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द स्टैमेन. सो नाउ if we discuss about the detailed structure of the stamen. Now so what is this? As we are getting in this picture, this is a typical structure of the stamen. And what is the group of stamen we called? The group of stamen togetherly we call them as androecium. Group of stamen is called as okay. So the group of the stamen We call them as androecium, and androecium, they are the male part. Okay. Now in this part, in the male stamen, it has total 2 parts. What are the 2 parts? The first part, in the top portion you are getting a lobe-like structure. It's called as anther. What is called? It's called as anther. And anther is a, okay, it's a fertile part. It is fertile part. Fertile part means inside this anther only the pollen grains will develop. So that's why it's a fertile part. And just below portions or downside of the anther, there is a long slender like structure is there, and this long slender like structure is called as filament. So what is a filament? ये लो anther के नीचे से जो लंबा डंडा के जैसा निकलता है, that is called as filament. And the filament is sterile part. Filament is sterile part. So the anther is fertile part. That means inside the anther only the pollen grains will develop, and the filament is sterile part. Inside, in the reproduction, the role of the filament is nothing. Okay, it can't reproduce anything, so that's why this part is the sterile part. And in the downside, it's called as proximal end. So what is this proximal end? Now look back into the structure. So the proximal end over here, that means the down portion. So this, by this proximal end only, this entire stamen, it will be attached with the thalamus of the flower. In these portions we are getting the thalamus. Okay, thalamus of the flower or the wall of the ovary. With that one only the entire stamens are attached. So with the help of the proximal end, the entire stamen will attach to the thalamus. These portions, with these portions, the androeciums are attached, and these portions, by how they will attach to this portion, they will attach by the help of the proximal end. Correct? Now here we have to know the detailed structure of the anther. Now if you draw the detailed structure of this single anther, so this is the picture. So here we are getting 2 lobes. Okay, this is the first lobe and this is the second lobe, and inside the downside only we are getting the filament. Now, so 2 lobes are there, and inside the each lobe there is a presence of 2 theca cells. So as they have the 2 lobes, so that's why the stamen or anther is bilobed. Why it is bilobed? Because in the anther we are getting 2 lobe, 2. So that's why it's a 2 lobe. Now inside the each lobe we are getting 2 theca cell. Okay, we are getting 2 theca cells. So here 1 theca cell, here 1 second theca cell. So that the 2 theca cell we are getting in 1 lobe. So in 2 lobe, how many theca cell we will get? Yes, you are correct. In the 2 lobe we will get total 4 theca cell. That means that each lobe is dithecous. So each lobe is dithecous. Why they are dithecous? Because inside the each lobe we are getting 2 theca cell. So that's why the each lobe is dithecous. क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे है, तो एंथर के अंदर में कितना थीका सेल पाया जाता है? That means inside the total anther we will get total 4 theca cells. Correct? So each lobe is dithecous. So as a result, inside the total anther we will get 4 theca cells. It's correct? Okay. Now here also we have to know the detailed structure. The detailed structure of this anther. So this is a primary structure. Now suppose inside this anther, how the pollen grains will develop. That is also important things. Now here, as you are getting the two theca cells or two lobes are present. So how these two lobes will attach with each other? So these two lobes will attach with each other by the help of connective. So that means here we will get the connective. So what is the function of the connective? So the connectives will help to attach the two lobes, and also it will be helpful for supply of the water, mineral, nutrient, that will be also supplied by this connective. Correct? Okay. Now suppose if we cut this anther like in this section, what we call this as transverse section. Okay, suppose that anther is there. Okay, like this our anther is there. So this anther we have to cut like this. Like this, we have to, in this plane we have to cut. So this is called transverse section. So if we check this transverse section, so in that transverse section we are getting that inside the each anther, okay, inside the each anther we are getting the 4 microsporangia. Okay, what are those 4 microsporangia? In the coming lecture we will discuss on the structure of the microsporangia. What I told, if we get the transverse section of the anther, so we will get 4 microsporangia. So how many microsporangia we will get? We will get 4 microsporangia we will get. And this later 4 microsporangia, later by the process of microsporogenesis, it will get converted into the pollen grains. Okay, pollen grains. Correct? That means इसका इस वाला पोर्शन हम लोग काटेंगे तो इसके नीचे वाला पोर्शन भरा हुआ रहेगा, और इस नीचे वाला पोर्शन के अंदर में हम लोग देखेंगे हजारों तादाद में pollen grain इसके अंदर में डेवलप्ड हुआ है. So where the pollen grain will develop? The pollen grains will develop from the microsporangia. Correct? So in the coming lecture we will discuss about the structure of the microsporangia and the process of microsporogenesis. Okay, in the coming lecture we will discuss on the structure of the microsporangia and the process of the microsporogenesis. Hope so today you enjoyed the video. Okay, clear? So please subscribe our channel still now if you have not done, and like the videos, comment on the videos, and keep sharing. And Jano Biology Dil Se. Thank you.